Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. This is part 2 of a whole bunch of parts coming up on this land development project. We missed the dig out, the excavator, digging these trenches. We lost some footage, but we still got the important stuff. We've got the pipes going in here. What we've got is our main water service line going in here from the meter. We also have a water line from the well. We have a backflow system on the city water, which is required because they don't want the potential of well water backflowing in through the service line into their water, even though their water comes from a well as well. This is the backfill right here. We dropped 2 lines in here. We dropped a 3/4 inch conduit for future. It's just nice that if you have open trenches to drop extra conduits for future stuff, just in case. And I think it's going to come in handy having power at the perimeter fence line, just for could be for lights, could be for low voltage, it could be for a lot of things. But so we have 2 lines from the new house location to the outer perimeter. We used the 3/4 PVC pipe in here, and right now we just have a stub up on either end. There's no water meter yet on this property, but there is a water stub up for a meter drop in, so that would be another phase of these series. Here's the conduit on the other end of the property. This actually goes from the well all the way back to the new power pole that we put in. We lost that footage too, by the way. Dropping the power pole in 4.5 feet below grade, and it's 15.5 feet above grade. It's a 20-foot pole, 6-inch diameter at the top, and it's a good 8 to 10 at the bottom. Kind of tapered up. So the maximum range we can go with that new power pole that we put in was 60 feet from the existing. That's as far as the electric company will go with their standard fee. Otherwise it goes up dramatically. Also, we're within 20 feet of the manufactured home, and the manufactured home installers will pick up that portion of it. Now if you're going over 20 feet, of course, that's another additional cost for running more wire. So right now the location of the home and all these things are optimized for cost. So this is a 1-inch conduit because I've got to run 220 back to that because I have a 220 pump. We're going to show that whole well install too. I actually pulled the old pump out of the well and checked the actual well, did some verification on it that it was a good well, and it looked really good. I actually dropped a shot glass down there on a string line and pulled some water out, and it was beautifully crisp and clear and icy cold. So I know it's going to work. As I pulled the old pump and they were running 1.25 inches down in that well, and they were running all steel pipe, and they're running 20-foot stainless on the bottom for obvious reasons because it's a submersible part and they didn't want it to rust. Here we are backing in the road base because the pad for the actual manufactured home where it will rest, actually extending it out a little bit more because the actual manufactured home that I chose was a lot wider than the original one I was going to put in here. I was going to go with a 24-foot wide, but I ended up going with a 28-foot wide. So I'm bringing more base in here. So I'm going to taper that hillside on the backside out a little bit further. Then I'm going to add a couple more feet just because, just to be able to walk around there and do the work on it until I get the deck up, the raised deck. That'll be in the video as well. I'm going to do a raised, probably a Trex wood deck on the back here with clear glass windbreak around it, and then a sunken jacuzzi in there. So as you can see, this truck that backed up here on the original from part 1 of me leveling this, he didn't sink in the ground at all. So that was well compacted. That's what that tells me. So I feel real confident on what I did here on my dirt work on resting a manufactured home here. with my system. And the way I did this compaction is I basically wheel roll it with a full scoop of dirt in the bucket and a lot of water. Start with a wheel rolling in small incremental lifts of no more than, say, 6 to 8 inches at a maximum at a time, and then you keep building up like that. So that's kind of my system. It seems to work every time if you stick to that process. Lots of water, 6-inch lift max, wheel roll with a full bucket. You're going to get 95% of optimal every time in whatever material it may be. So it was nice being able to dump this base on top of the actual pad, because I was able just to push it off the hillside. Went together really quickly. We got a lot of rain out here, and that's why there's a lot of greenery right now. This doesn't hang around yearly, all this greenery, but right now they just got a lot of storms came through here, and it actually rained while we were working, so it kept the base nice and moist and everything compacted really well. Now I have my laser level out. Oh, by the way, in part 1 I talked a little bit about the DeWalt laser, how it didn't work. When the deal with that DeWalt laser was I had a prototype that hadn't really been on the market yet. So what I had to do, and that was a kind of a test run for them, I took it out in the field under some extreme conditions out here in Arizona in icy cold weather, and they figured out there was a problem with it operating in cold weather due to some kind of glitch with the computer built into the system. So they just had to do a little programming on it, and now it's fine. Because we still happen to have that laser level. Actually, my son uses that one. But right now what we're doing here is I pulled some string lines. I want to make this pad not exactly level, because in case water were to get underneath the pad under a manufactured home, you do want a little slope. So I'm going with 2 inches slope in both directions, which is, it's very minimal. It's probably not even 0.5% of slope, but it's just enough so you won't have standing water underneath the unit. So that's why I have the laser level out here, checking the grade all the way across as we grade. And then also I'm pulling string lines. I laid the exact position of the manufactured home out with string lines, the outside perimeter. And then what I did was I went an additional 2 feet before I started my slope down the hill. That way, once the siding goes up on this backside, I can pour some concrete at the base. That'll lock it in, and then I'll go with a raised patio cover off the back. Now we're just running the plate compactor just to smooth it out, so we have a real smooth finish on this base right now. That's one of the neighbors that came over here. John is his name. He's real familiar with this area. Has been here since day one. On the front side there, I had a little extra base, so I kind of smoothed it out, because inevitably what I'm going to do, because that wall is actually too short to reach the top of floor by about 6 to 8 inches, so I'm going to pour an entire slab over the top of that wall 8 inches, dowel it in, and extend it out for a front patio and a cover. That'll also lock in the wall even more securely. Alright, here we are in Arizona. We just wrapped up this outing out here. So far what we've got accomplished is we've got the pad here, we've got a little retainer, so what we end up with is a walk-in from the front, and then maybe we'll do a deck off the back. There's a staircase at some point, and maybe some railing around windbreak, and then a sunken jacuzzi in the back deck. And then over here, what we've got done so far here is we've got a water service. We have a water service right here. This is about 18 inches, 2 feet down. We have a valve in there. That'll be the hookup for the water to the house. We ran a 3/4 all the way to here, approximately 2 feet deep. Then we also, since we had the trench open, we ran a 3/4 conduit for future low voltage or what have you. That one ends here. We did the conduit, electrical conduit, at about 2.5 feet, and then we did the water at 2 feet. So there's 6 inches of dirt layer in between the two. At that end, on this side, on this property, before the meter, we have a backflow preventer set up over there. It's a double backflow preventer. Then over here, another thing we've accomplished, we've got this all compacted. We got a lot of rain too while we're working here, so we didn't have to add much water out of the hose. We were dragging water from across the street actually to get it here. Over here we've got the power pole, the drop pole. That's where the electrical box will be, and then from that point it'll go underground to the manufactured home. Right here we have the septic. This marks center of septic, which we will be tying into again. Also, we ran a 1-inch conduit from the new drop pole all the way to the well. There's a well in that corner all the way up there. So we've got water. I ran a 1-inch to this point. See that stub up? That's off the well. So I haven't decided where I'll put the tank at, but it's going to have to be enclosed or at least shaded. So I can either hook it up here, or I can hook it up at my other riser down here. That I'm still debating. But in any case, I have a lot of options open because I have stub ups. So this could be just my stations for my irrigation system off of the well water. That's the idea. The well water is the complete irrigation outside. I'm going to use the city service for the house only. Then, oh, here's the old hookup, because there was a trailer, there was a manufactured home here apparently at one time before, and this was where they were dropping in. You can see their old power pole. This particular power pole that they had was a metal one, and it's about 85 feet from the power pole out there. They won't run them that long. Their max distance now is 60 foot, so this I'm not able to use if I upgrade to a 200 amp, which I am going to a 200 amp. So this is obsolete now, so I had to put the new pole in. So the new pole I can put a 200 amp on, and that's going to increase the gauge of that wire on the overhead. If I would have left this at a 100 amp, I could have utilized this and grandfathered it in, but I chose to upgrade. So I don't even like how that wire is real low anyway. You know, and it's just too long, and the wind's too strong out here. You got to be built out here for about 90-mile-an-hour winds. That's kind of the build code. So this is the line right here. We've got the electrical buried in that same trench. We got electrical at 2.5 feet. We got the water at 2 feet, 6 inches dirt in between those two items. So I've already got all the components. I've already explored this well, and it looks good. I dropped the shot glass down there attached to a string line and took a couple shots of the water to see what it was like, and it was beautiful. Ice cold, about 55 degrees. And this well, I was looking at the permit on this well, and when it was put in, it's put in 1986, and the water for this ground is off of the Colorado River. That's what's feeding this well. So the river is about 1 mile, maybe a half mile that direction, and I'd say the river is about 90 feet below this elevation we're at, and that's how deep my well is, 90 feet, so that makes sense. All right, let's roll it up, and then our next outing, the next time we have to come out here, we'll probably put it to get the permit for the pole for the electric, get that marked, get the panel on there, and then at that same time, I think that's about all really is left to do here. And then eventually, once the manufactured home is set, which will be in about 4 months, we'll get the city service to drop a new meter in. Let's go take a look at that backflow setup. I just went with some 40 schedule PVC for the water service. That's real standard. That's what everyone uses out here. So this is a double backflow, and let's take a look at what brand it is. I think it's a 350 XL, lead free. Zerns. Here it is. Yeah, it's a Zern XL 350 is the model on this unit. I know that because I still have the box somewhere. Oh, here it is. It says right here. Oh, is that 850? No, that's a 3. Is that a 3 or an 8?
That's an 8.
It's an 850 TXL. So it's a double backflow. These are your bleeders. Test to make sure that it's functioning correctly. On this particular install, all my PVC, I ended up using primer on this one because this is the main water service. So I mean, you don't really have to have it. It doesn't call for it on the if you read the instructions on the glue, but I just went the extra mile on this. One other detail I wanted to go over, and the way this land is contoured, there's a lot of elevations on this, but right here is a natural drainage through the middle of this property, and this is where it starts right here. It's a little gully, and it kind of S's around here. So right here, we're in the middle of the property. The house will be there. So at this point, I'm going to do a massive waterfall feature right here. And the water's going to come down that. It's going to come down this. It's going to S through here. I'm going to lay some waterproof liner down on the bottom, and then I'm going to use the border of this whole river is going to be hit with big boulders, and then a lot of small ones, a couple boulders in the middle, just to get the water moving through here. It's going to S around here. It's just going to follow this natural contour. I'm not going to try to flatten everything out. I'm going to utilize the shape we have here. And then it's going to come right around here. It's going to come right through here. It's going to S through here. It's going to come all the way down here. Right here is going to be a big pond. Right in this area. Somewhere down here we're going to have a big pond. And then I'll have a submersible pump. It'll pump the water back to the waterfall. And it'll just be circulating. And it'll be cleaning and keeping the water fresh. So that's the idea long term. I think the pond, if I did the pond right here, you could still get a visual from the house and the pond and to the waterfall feature, both. And we'd still have space to do a drive-through from this fence over to this, cut the corner. There's a drive-through there. Now if I move the pond down there, I could do a bridge, concrete bridge over the pond with wood stamp plank, so it looks like a wooden bridge going over this. And I'll just use natural wood color in the concrete and hit it with some darker browns for the grains of the wood and stamp it and create a driveway that goes from one corner to the other over a bridge over the pond or the river through here. That would be a nice look too. Might go that route, but yeah, I'm going to keep posting stuff as I do things out here. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.